Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lee Reams II. I'm the CEO of CountyWorks Pro, and today's VIP workshop is how to leverage video content in your marketing. I will be a co-presenter, and we are joined today by Sarah. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Sarah Lepisova, and I am a digital marketing manager at CountyWorks Pro.
And our resident SEO expert. So she has a lot of video knowledge. She does a lot of our editing and transcript and SEO optimization of the videos that we do. So she's got a lot of experience in this topic. So today's agenda, we'll go through an introduction. We'll discuss why video is so important. And I'll just tell you why. YouTube is owned by Google. YouTube is the #2 biggest search engine in the world. So Google obviously owns the majority of organic search. And if they own the video search and the way they index that, I would say that makes it very important, right? We'll also talk about some common roadblocks and solutions, tips on making your video content work for you, and a conclusion at the end. About this webinar, it will be approximately 30 minutes long. I think this one might be a little bit shorter. There will be no CPE credit, and this workshop is designed for US-based small tax and accounting practices. However, any other business or practice may benefit. So let me start with the introduction. In today's world, in the digital world, content is king. So influencers, people that create, we call them creators, basically are the most sought after commodity on the internet. So any big social, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they're all looking for, they're just basically a platform. So without creators, people like you who have something to say, there's really no activity going on there, right? So if you were a small business owner, you have surely heard this phrase. And according to Forrester, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a minute video is worth 1.8 million. And what do we mean by that? If you aren't leveraging video content, you are missing out on potentially millions of impressions and countless other marketing benefits. In today's webinar, we will walk through why video is essential and how you can hit the ground running. So I'm going to hand it over to Sarah, and go ahead and take over, please.
So thank you, Lee. Let's start with just a couple of stats to really highlight right off the bat how important video is. 46% of people will take action after watching a video. 80% of people will recall a video up to 1 month after seeing it. So video is a great way to really embed your brand into people's minds. It's a really lasting way to embed your brand. People will literally remember it a month after seeing it, which is much, much higher than with any other type of advertising medium. 64% of people who visit a website and watch a video on it are more likely to convert. So if you have a video on your website, you're boosting your chances of conversion by 64%. And then there was a study done. There was not a study done yet on tax and accounting brands, but real estate is pretty similar kind of with how people market themselves individually. And a study was done that showed that real estate listings that had video in them actually had over 400% more inquiries. So that's just another huge stat that points to why it's important. And kind of a convenient fact is only half of businesses are currently leveraging video. So if you are able to, and you are quick to adopt video, you're pretty early. You're going to be an early adopter of leveraging video in your small business marketing. So it's good to start now.
Yeah, and I would agree. And a couple things to add with a lot of the cord cutters, myself included. YouTube is, I probably watch YouTube as much as I do regular television. I like live sports, but I watch YouTube for a lot of different documentary things, anything that is interesting to me. And what happens with YouTube and their algorithm is they will start recommending different videos that are kind of into what I've watched in the past. So if you're targeting small business owners, for example, and you're creating very strong content about, let's say, starting a business, most likely if they start consuming your video, the algorithm inside of YouTube will start recommending you to other people like that viewer and more of your videos to that particular viewer. So I think that's something that a lot of times people don't understand how the organic side of things work there. And it makes a big difference. And a couple of things is, some people say, well, hey, no one's watching videos about QuickBooks or tax planning or tax planning changes. You would be shocked. There are creators right now on YouTube that have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, and they're actually monetizing this. They're making money from it. So if you get to the point where you're able to get that type of, that many eyeballs, you can actually monetize and put advertising within your videos. That's a whole nother webcast. But what I'm getting at is there's more than just these stats. It is actually working. And there's very few, as Sarah said, only half of businesses currently leveraging video. In the tax and accounting space, it's a very small percentage. So definitely some interesting information to kind of back up, some data to back up why we think this is so important. And I'm going to roll into the next slide. So the benefits of video, Sarah, go ahead and give some of these points.
Yeah, so the benefits of video are vast, like we just said. Just kind of right off the bat, they're an exceptional way to showcase your expertise as a professional. We talk about this all the time because you really want to be able to showcase your expertise so you can charge for expertise rather than charging on an hourly rate. Videos are one of the best ways to kind of put yourself out there and prove that you're an expert in your field. They're also a great way to showcase your social proof. Like if you have a video testimonial, that is an amazing way to showcase your impact on other businesses and show proof that you are a successful professional in your field. They're also incredibly versatile. We do this all the time with our marketing. Once you have video content created, it can be really kind of converted into a lot of different things. You can use it for advertising. You can use it as informational content. You can use it for SEO purposes, which is the next point that I'm about to make. But video is one of the most versatile options that you have in terms of content that you can convert into different things. And as we mentioned before, content is king. YouTube is owned by Google, and so video content can highly improve your search engine optimization. It can help you rank much more highly for different topics. And then, of course, people love video. Like Lee said, watches videos on YouTube more often than TV. You'd be really, really surprised, especially with kind of some of the more dry topics that do come up in the tax and accounting space. People are much more likely to want to watch a video about them rather than read like a white paper or an article, because that can take more time and be more kind of stressful on the eyes. So people love watching video. It's a great form of content that people love.
Yes, and when you said video is versatile, I think one of the things that we do is we'll record a webinar or a video, a longer piece, and then we're able to cut it up into smaller, almost like mini segments or commercials. So you can take a piece of content. If you have a longer form video that's say 30 minutes long, you can actually create maybe 10, 2-minute segments out of that and use that in on social media. You could also do a lot of boosting or paid advertising with that. So that when we say it's versatile, you can get a lot of mileage out of the time you spend in creating one piece of content, and you can utilize it through various other mediums, so to speak. So definitely agree with that. I think you have a good example here.
Yeah, and this is just, I think, a great example. Obviously not tax or accounting related, but if you were to search for how to braid your hair, you'll get 3 results, and then you'll see that the video result comes up at the very top. And to be completely honest, even though it's not the first result, it is most likely one of the results that's getting the most traffic because it's so eye-catching. So it's definitely, it's just kind of to give you an idea of what video looks like when it's in search and how it can benefit you.
Yeah, and I think another way to look at this, Sarah, is if it depends on the topic too, and the kind of the intent of the searcher. So something like how to braid your hair is a visual, right? So you're going to want to see a visual versus reading how to braid hair. It doesn't make sense. So those type of search terms, you're going to see Google putting their YouTube results higher in the page. And think about this: if you're doing like QuickBooks tips on how to do something in QuickBooks, and you're doing a screen share. Obviously, that is much easier to understand watching it visually, on a YouTube video versus trying to read through and go, wait a second, step 1, I go to this screen. It just doesn't make sense. So that is how this works. And you got to think about that when you're starting to decide what type of content you want to move to the video formats. I'm going to go into now, actually, Sarah, is some common roadblocks and solutions, but let's roll through here. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of tax professionals, accounting professionals, and these are kind of the most common roadblocks and common objections we hear when we recommend starting kind of investing in video content. I totally, completely understand that it's very intimidating for many people to start creating video content. And some of the most common issues that we hear are you don't have the right equipment, you don't know how to edit. A lot of people feel like there's not a lot of interesting things to say in this space. And a lot of people, kind of the most frequent thing I hear is people don't want to be on camera, which is something that we completely understand. But we have solutions to all of these roadblocks, and we have ways that you can really get around these. It's not as intimidating as it seems. So the next few slides will go through kind of how to address each of these roadblocks to be successful.
Yeah, and Sarah, we like on this one, we're not showing our faces. Many of our other webinars, I recommend putting your face and then having to share if you're going to have a screen share, and you'll get more comfortable. You don't always have to do straight on head angles. You'll see that you can move the camera around. I think with the world, with the iPhone 13s and the new cameras, cameras that are available, you can get some really high quality video without spending a bunch of money on equipment. I do suggest getting a good microphone. That does help out on the quality of everything, but definitely there's no real roadblocks to me with the modern devices that are out there.
Exactly. And so lack of equipment, like we just said, filming video content is honestly easier than it has ever been. Even if you don't have a full-blown studio or a ton of expensive equipment, you probably already have a good video setup in the palm of your hand. If you have a cell phone, iPhone, a webcam, we all have webcams now since the pandemic. So you definitely have a lot of tools in your day-to-day arsenal that you can take advantage of. So that's just kind of just to start that. And on the next slide, I have a couple of examples of things you can use. So really, you can use whatever is available to you. Webcams, cell phones, virtual backgrounds now are way better than they used to be. You can get an amazing virtual background that looks like you're in a beautiful recording space. You can do screen recording. We do a lot of that when we record webinars. We'll get on screen shares and record our screens. There's video conferencing tools that can help you loop people in so you can have multiple presenters. There's lots of voiceover technology apps. If you don't have a studio, I always say you can try a paper background. That's a little bit more kind of old school. You honestly could be able to get around that just with a virtual background. But if you wanted to have a paper background, there's tons available for really affordable prices on sites like Amazon. Same with lighting. If you are someone who is kind of conscious of how you look on screen, a really easy way to make yourself look amazing on screen is just to get a simple ring light for really affordable price. You can get those on any online marketplace site, Amazon, easy to order, and they make a huge difference. So you can make use of a lot of equipment for not too much money.
Yeah, and so I have a Logitech camera that I use, and it actually brightens up. So I do have a ring like the example here on this screen, but I also use a Logitech camera that plugs in my USB port on my computer. I have a laptop, a new Apple Air. The actual camera on it is incredible. So it isn't, as long as you have modern computers or modern workstations, and if you need to get a nice camera, it really helps with the overall, I guess, lighting issues. A lot of people have, especially people working from home now, there's a lot of different environments. The sun comes through the blinds, wherever if you're in a closet, I get that. So there's a lot of ways to kind of accommodate that. And this is my favorite, Sarah. So I have now officially made Sarah much more of an editor on our side. I used to edit all of my own webcasts, and I use Camtasia. I 100% recommend it. I'll let Sarah go through it, but it's a very easy tool to make it so you can get from recording to published in literally 5 to 10 minutes if you do it right. But Sarah, I don't want to take all your time, but go ahead on the rest of your tips here.
Yeah, no, exactly. One of the things I hear a lot is that people are very, very, very intimidated by editing because it seems a lot more complicated than it actually is. Like Lee said, he has made me an editor on many projects, so it's very easy to do. There's a lot of softwares out there. Some are even free, very affordable softwares that can help you edit things very easily, very quickly. There's a lot of content on YouTube that you can look into to learn how to use these platforms. I just listed a couple of our favorites. iMovie is an easy one that's already on your Mac if you have one. Lightworks, Shotcut, VSDC, and then Camtasia is what we use pretty frequently, which is a great, super simple editing tool. Makes everything super quick. So if you're nervous about editing, you really don't have to be. It's a lot easier than it seems. And there's lots of resources that you can use.
Yeah, 100%. And then Adobe products are kind of the top of the line, but that's more sophisticated. And I will say there's a bigger learning curve. It takes more bandwidth of your computer and the amount of things you can do. But if you're going to do some super high-end polished things, then you'll look at the Adobe suite. But again, Camtasia is perfect for a lot of the stuff that you guys will be doing.
And another thing that people say all the time is that in this space, they feel like they don't have a lot of inspiration for content. I get this almost every time I talk about video content. People say, oh, why would I make video content about accounting or tax? It's so dry, so limiting. And that's not true at all. People have questions and people need answers for so many things that this space offers. So here's just a couple of content ideas that can kind of get your creativity flowing. I would say FAQs are something that I always recommend. If you have clients that are constantly asking questions, you can make FAQ videos, obviously not give away too much because you don't want to give away your expertise for free, but FAQs are a great way to rank for search terms. They're a great way to establish your expertise. They're a great way to pop up in searches and then kind of make people see that you are an expert on that matter. So that's a great place to start. They're also a form of content where you don't have to show your face necessarily. So just a little note there. You can update people on breaking tax law changes. That's super important. That's a way to keep your client base looped in, kind of like a video newsletter, so to speak. That's an amazing form of content that you can leverage. If you're in a specific industry, you can definitely speak to industry-specific news. People are going to be Googling, especially like in the last few years where there's been so many different tax changes affecting so many different businesses. People are going to be searching for answers to questions that are industry specific. And it's, like we said, way easier to watch and digest a video than it is to read an article. The next thing is a testimonial. This is another form of content where you don't have to showcase yourself. You can pull a business that you help, have them make a video testimonial for you. That's super powerful. It's a great way to build social proof, and you can feature that on your homepage, on your website, as well as like a YouTube channel, just to kind of showcase your impact on your community. And then IRS resources, if you are someone who works with IRS tax negotiation, resolution, these videos often get a lot of traffic because people search for those questions. Sometimes people are more shy about those questions, so they'll search for them online, and having good video content that speaks to those issues often gets a lot of high traffic. And then a couple more suggestions. You can always go live. This is a little bit more for people who are comfortable being on camera, but if you have kind of a more established following, you can go live on places like YouTube, Instagram, and you can record your live sessions where people ask you questions, you respond. It's kind of more of like a commentary form of content. And then last content option that I am going to suggest is if you work in a specific niche, would definitely around your specific niche. There's a huge opportunity for content creation, video content creation around specific tax and accounting niches. Like if you specifically service truckers or another specific industry, you can make FAQs and just different forms of content that speak to those people specifically that they can then digest as well.
Right. And there's less competition, obviously, with that. And that's why it's a very good resource. And when it goes to the live side, so I do a podcast as well. Some of these interviews will actually record for our podcasts, but we'll also stream it live on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. So it gives an extra, I guess, SEO boost. You know, we're not necessarily looking for a lot of eyeballs on the live stream, but it does create that content. It gives another, I guess, way to syndicate that content. Oh, this is a good one. You don't want to be on camera. And I know, Sarah, you hear this often.
Oh, yes. I hear this all the time, and we completely get it. Not everyone wants to put themselves out there. Obviously, you are not, you're not content creators, so it's not expected of you to want to do that. So there are ways to get around it. You can use voiceover style videos. Like this video is a voiceover style video. You can't see us, but you're still getting the value. You can record over a presentation, kind of like this. There's ways that you can use animations instead of your own face. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but we offer video options that are more kind of animation based with text and graphics that cover that look like videos, but they don't necessarily include people in them. You can also try a commentary video, voiceover. Again, if there's something in the news that you want to comment on, you can show slides and comment over them. And then you can always invite your staff to help you. You never know, there could be someone in your staff who is willing to do video content. So you can always ask people for help. And then last way is you can showcase your clients. So like we mentioned earlier, testimonials, having kind of social proof content, that's another great way to create video that people will watch, but doesn't necessarily contain you in your face.
Yeah, and I think, Sarah, the whole concept of getting human is an area I think most tax and accounting professionals do not do enough of. So we have some of our highest performing firms show a lot more personality in their sites. We're doing a lot of professional photography, kind of landing pages and headshots and office shots that show the human side. I mean, people are hiring you; they're not hiring a robot. So showing your face, showing your personality, I think is huge, and you get a big bump on your conversions and the amount of people that you'll actually find through the internet. So I highly suggest putting yourself out there.
Exactly. And people want to work with people that they trust. We did a long time ago, we had an article that talked about why it's important to have headshots and how headshots can affect how people interact with your site. And this is kind of the same thing. Obviously, video is an extra layer and it's going a little bit farther than before. But if you're able to add that, it's a great way to show the human side of your practice. And we always say first impressions are extremely important, and a video can be an excellent way to make a first impression without actually having to contact anyone or get on the phone with anyone, especially if you have a lot of people inquiring. It's one of the best ways to kind of make your mark on a prospective client without having to talk to them in advance.
Yeah, and then throw out this isn't for video, but if you want to see what people think of your photographies or your headshots, there's a tool called Photo Feeler that we use that will actually give the public kind of crowdsourcing. They can judge the images and they say, is this person trustworthy, knowledgeable, personable? And you'll realize pretty quickly, without being subjective and making your own decision, what the world thinks of your face and kind of the way you look and come off. So definitely a tool you might look into. We're going to move into making your video content work for you.
Yes. So this part will be all about kind of what you do once you've created a piece of content. This will cover how you can actually leverage that content and use it for your marketing. So once you've created something, the first thing you need is you need a place to upload your content. So we recommend the easiest way to do this is to create a YouTube channel. YouTube channel is free. You can set it up using your business email. Just a little tip, especially if you are a Accounting Works Pro subscriber, you're going to want to set this up with the same email that you use for your Google account, all of your Google business accounts, because they are integrated, so they all connect together. That's important if you are using our service as well. But it's a good tip just to keep everything consistent. Getting a YouTube channel is very, very easy. You can easily set one up for free. We linked an article in here that kind of walks you through the steps. It's super, super simple. So that's the first thing you'd want to start with.
Yeah, and then will they be able to just click on the PDF of this presentation, be able to get to that article?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just do that. It's linked in the in our PDF of the presentation. And now we're moving on to optimizing your YouTube channel, and this is something that I think is really worth the time. There's some technologies like we're using Riverside. I think it's Riverside FM right now to record this. We use it for our videos, both screen sharing, audio, podcasting, and at times when we're doing, human, kind of interviews. And what it does is it will automatically create a transcript. There are some transcript technologies you can use, but Sarah has some better insight on kind of how do you optimize your YouTube channel and your video once you get it up.
Yeah. So when you're building out your YouTube channel, I always say that you kind of want to think of it as a listing, just as kind of your own, its own form of social media. So you want to optimize it in the same way that you would a Facebook or a Google My Business account. You want to make sure that your channel is properly linked to your website, because that will serve as a backlink to your website, which is beneficial for SEO. You're going to want to make sure that you have your name, your address, and your phone on your channel so that people can find that, and so that search engines can read that and connect it back to your website. And then when you're optimizing, you're going to want to put in everything, basically fill it out as much as you can. You want to write a thoughtful channel description that will kind of speak to your brand, speak to the keywords that you target, the services that you offer, and what content you're producing. And you're going to want to include an intro video. This is somewhat optional. If you don't have an intro video made, or you don't know where to start, you can really have like a video that is a practice overview, or a testimonial is a great intro video to have on your channel. It kind of just drives people or pulls people in, and shows them what you've offered to your community. And then you're going to want to optimize with banner art. So you want some eye-catching banner art in the proper dimensions, so it shows up correctly whether someone is on their desktop or on their mobile device. If you are a Accounting Works Pro VIP subscriber, we do include this in your package. So you do get these graphics with us, so you don't have to design them yourself, just so you are aware.
Right. I think it's also important to understand part of being a Accounting Works Pro subscriber is we will make it so your brand is consistent across the web. So it's important that, if someone goes to your website and then goes to a landing page, or then goes to your social media sites or your YouTube channel, that they know it's the same brand, it's the same company. It creates familiarity and a lot of other benefits, but sometimes people just have 4 different brands basically, or kind of visuals, and it just doesn't work as well. I know, Sarah, you have an example here real quick of one you just created.
Yeah, this is someone who I think does a great job on their YouTube channel. They have really nice banner, their logo, all their brand colors are consistent. And then if you look at their topics, if you want to look, these are actually some Accounting Works Pro videos that are pre-made in that animation style that we mentioned, that talk about different current events, different policies, tax planning tips. So this is just, I think, a great example of a well YouTube channel that makes your business look great if anyone navigates to it from your website or finds it organically.
Perfect. And then I kind of touched on this a little bit, but post and optimize your video. I jumped the gun, but Sarah, go ahead and kind of explain what you do there.
Yeah, so once you upload your video, you want to thoughtfully optimize it. We kind of talked about it earlier, but you're going to want to basically write a very thoughtful description of the video, make sure all the keywords are included. You want to include an eye-catching thumbnail, so people, when they see the little photo that appears next to the video title, you want it to be kind of descriptive of what is in the video. These are really easy to make. You can use them with any kind of editing software, Photoshop, Canva, super, super easy. So you want to include that. And then you want to add links back to your website depending on what the video is about. You want to add the call to actions, so people, like we mentioned earlier, like 64% of people are likely to take action. So you want there to be a place where they can take action. So you want to create links that link back to whatever you're selling or speaking to. Leave a place where people can contact you. That's super important as well. And that's how you'd want to kind of optimize on a base level.
So this is, I kind of mentioned transcripts before. If you use a tool like Riverside.fm that we're using now, it actually will auto create it. I'm trying to remember the other transcript tool we use. I don't know if you remember, Sarah, but transcripts dot something. Do you recall?
I think it is rev.com.
Yes.
Used in the past.
Yeah, it is inexpensive, very quick, great quality. And there's 2 different types. There's hand transcript versus AI transcripts. AI transcripts sometimes are a little bit off, but Sarah, I'll let you finish up kind of the other tips you have here, because I like the segments.
Yeah, just a couple of extra bonus tips. We recommend this if you have time. Doesn't take too long, but like Lee said, you can add a transcript to your video. You can order one. If your video is short, like if it's only a couple of minutes, you could type the subtitles into your video and do kind of your own transcript if you want to save time there. But that's great for SEO. Also, just an extra bonus note, if you create a transcript from your video, that's another way to leverage the content. We mentioned that it's super versatile. You can take your transcript, turn it into a blog, turn it into an article, you can use it in a lot of different ways. So definitely, if you can do a transcript, do that. And then another tip we have is you want to break your video down into segments. If you break it into key moments, it's very, very simple to do. You just put into your video description the timestamp and the topic. This is just one that we pulled from one of our videos that we did on one called Close, but you want to put in keywords and you want to put in just what is happening in time. That makes it easier for search engines to read what's going on and rank your video in snippets.
Yeah, well, also for the segments, if someone only wanted to listen to a certain part of your video, makes it easy for them to cut to the chase and not have to sit through and fast forward to what they wanted to hear about. So let's say they just wanted to learn about chatbot technology, they hit the 620, it takes them straight to that point on the video, and they're not basically kind of wasting their time. So I think that's another reason to do that. And then it comes into sharing your video. So how do we get a bunch of eyeballs on this thing?
Exactly. So you're going to want to share it everywhere, especially if you're a Counter's Pro subscriber and you have all of your accounts linked. It's very easy to just kind of share throughout your social profiles. You're going to want to share on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you have an Instagram and you want to convert your video, you can share it there. And you're going to want to interact with people who give you feedback. So if you get comments on your video, interact with it to kind of add more juice to the video. And then when applicable, you may want to embed the video on your website. Like if it's a testimonial or an FAQ page, you may want to incorporate those videos on your website. And then you just want to be sharing them throughout different channels so that people do see them.
Oh, I don't have time. This is one that I truly love, and I hear it more in our profession than I think other professions, but don't have time is, to me, this is part of what you're doing. And if you want to build a practice where you can charge more money, demand higher fees, become an influencer, make it so that people are coming in, with so many referrals and so many people finding you on search. This is a matter of you spend the time, you put the effort in, and then it becomes an evergreen type of thing. So there's a bunch of ways to do this. I know we have automation built into our platform right now, and it will actually auto post videos directly to the YouTube channels, and it's definitely something we do this already to your website and your blogs. So there's a lot of content that we're creating for you already that's branded to your firm. So definitely, this one is always my least favorite one. I had someone complain about a newsletter the other day that they didn't have time to edit out a couple articles that they thought didn't apply to their clients. It would take 30 seconds to do that. It took them more time to complain about the issue than to actually go in and do it. So it's definitely something that, you're investing time in yourself. So you make some time, utilize our automations. All you need to do then is just get everything set up and connected. So get your social accounts set up, connected. I think that's a kind of a big push, which leads us into our conclusion. Sarah, I will let you take it from here.
Yeah, so hopefully you learned from this video that video does not have to be intimidating. There's lots of tools that you can use to make beautiful content that doesn't require you to be an expert at all. And because video is becoming essential when it comes to marketing yourself online, you really want to take advantage of as many free resources as you can so you can get ahead and be in that first 50% of people who are leveraging video. Like Lee said, if you have questions or need help, we're here for you. We can help you. We have lots of automation tools that can help you make beautiful video. We can give you advice. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to us and get creative with your content.
And that was awesome, Sarah. I think you did a great job in this presentation. I'm going to add something here. And this isn't from the promotion side. This is more how to use video to deal or work with your clients. If you have the secure portal and the ability to share videos or snippets, you can use tools like Loom. Obviously, Teleaccountant you can record as well. But you can actually go in and create a video that kind of tells your client what you're working on or what to review, how to do something. Perhaps they called about support on how to close out something in QuickBooks. You're playing phone tag. You can actually create a Loom video very quickly and share it with them securely in your message center. It's definitely something that will help your productivity as well. So don't be afraid of video at all. And that's kind of just an added tip. And Loom is LOOM.com. And I think a lot of people are starting to use it. They have plugins that go into Chrome and some other devices. Really easy to use. Highly suggested. So I want to thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions about creating video, reach out to us at help@countingworks.com. Again, we appreciate you as clients. We hope this content is valuable, and we look forward to hearing from you in the near future. Sarah, if you want to close out on your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly what Lee said. If you guys need any advice, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help with content inspiration and just guidance. But yeah, thank you so much for joining, and hopefully you found this valuable. Thank you.